Yes, good morning, class. This is Kingsley Abedi, and I believe we have seen the outline for today. And of course, we are going to be working based on this outline. So, the first thing on the outline is how market cycles work in Nigeria. I believe we are all looking at the outline, and this is how we are going to follow. So, when I finish one, I'm going to go to the next. So, we should all be on the same page. Now, what is market cycle? Market cycles simply means the trend, the regular recurrent trend or pattern on how the market works, right? So when we are talking about market now, in this sense, we are talking about the Nigerian stock market because there are many markets, right? We are not talking about market for tangible items. We are talking about the stock market. So how does it work? What is the cycle? You know, generally, like what I've said earlier, companies are usually mandated to declare their reports. Companies that are listed on the NGX, and we know that the NGX is the primary trading floor for these securities, for the shares of these companies. So, because they are listed on NGX, every quarter they are mandated, to declare their reports. And of course, when they declare their reports, investors are going to act based on the performance, of the companies. Okay. So like I said earlier, based on the performance of these companies, that is what would determine the performance, of trading on the shares of these companies. Okay. So let's take for instance, there are usually four quarters. We have March for the year ended, for the quarter ended 31st March, for the quarter ended 30th June, 30th September, and the 31st December. So, except for few companies that do not have financial year end 31st December, okay, and I also mentioned that some of these few companies are multinationals. They work with the year end of their parent companies, okay. So, usually companies in Nigeria they have their year end for 31st December, and so when they release these reports, it is expected to boost trading performance. When the result is bad, a lot of investors will sell their shares because they are disappointed. So that is exactly what shapes the market cycle in Nigeria. Okay, so apart from the regular result of companies that are being released, other things that will affect the market generally, is news, right? Now, which will now take us to the next topic for today, why news moves stock prices, right? Example, politics, FX interest rates, insecurity. Okay, so of recent, so many things have been happening, especially when it has to do with Nigeria as an independent nation. And of course, these happenings, have had one or two impact on the Nigerian stock market. And that is exactly how it is supposed to be. So what I'm going to advise is if you are a stock market investor, you have to be very, very sensitive, to news. You have to be very sensitive to what is going on in your own country. Okay. So let's take for instance the judgment that was passed onto the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, right? Yes, ordinarily we are not supposed to be talking about politics here. Yeah, but of course these are things that also would affect the stock market. And for me, being somebody who is heavily interested in stocks, I watched the judgment live. So I watched it on channels when the judgment was fully passed. And the moment I saw it, you know, it even took some time before the media started carrying it. So what this means for me is because I'm dealing with money, whatsoever is going to affect my my business, my stocks, right? I have to be at the forefront of it. And so when I saw the judgment, I knew that definitely, in addition to the insecurity situation in the country, the stock market will likely be affected. So I'm not saying this for long-term investors. If you're a long-term investor, you already know what you want. You already did your due diligence before you invest in these stocks. You know that your target profit is uh, let's say 50% or 100%, and you are ready to wait for as long as it gives you that. That is not exactly why I'm monitoring the stock market, daily. So I have people, who are short-term investors. Some people are medium-term investors, just want to make quick profit, and get out. So I also have to be, giving them regular information. So, uh, like what we saw, the market has also declined slightly. Okay. Like I said earlier, if you have questions, please feel free to interrupt and ask. And so, based on what is expected after the outcome of the judgment, the market declined slightly. And that is not just the only reason why the market declined. As at that day, that was a Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday? That should be on Thursday, right? So even as at from Thursday and Friday, the US Congress was having a meeting. As at Friday yesterday and Thursday and Friday, US Congress was having a live meeting, you know, on the declaration of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And they are also providing evidences to show that there is ongoing genocide in Nigeria. Somebody will be asking why somebody who is doing finance stock, why are you concerned about genocide, and all that. For somebody like me, it is a must because I have to know if there is going to be a drop, where it will likely start from. Do you understand? So I already have to be ahead, of the market. What is going on between Russia and Ukraine since 2021? I've actually been following it. Do you get? And of course, if there is a way it will affect our stock market, definitely I will still bring it up in my channel. Everybody is going to know about it. And of course, uh, the 12-day war between uh, Israel, Iran, that include that America had to join Israel. I followed everything. I ensured that I followed it. And of course, during that period, the stock market went down. Okay, but the funny thing is that as at that time, for my channel, I've not started posting updates. So if as at that time I started, that was early, I think around June this year, it would have also been on my channel. The evidence would have been there. So what I'm saying is, the news, politics, events, everything dey shaping the stock market. Okay, so we as investors, we have to be very, very, very sensitive, and we have to be very, very proactive too. So, and sometimes even if I'm too tired to do a video to post, I just drop a comment on my YouTube page. Whoever is my subscriber will definitely see it. So in this period, of uncertainty, economic, political uncertainty, we just have to be very, very careful and be proactive. So, and still talking about politics, FS interest rates, and insecurity, I'm going to say this: for 2026, we have to be very, very cautious because personally, I intend to do 2026 is pre-election year, so I intend to do a thorough research on how pre-election year is going to be like. What usually happens during pre-election year? So I can do like 4 pre-election years, back, or 5. So that is exactly 20 years research. Okay, so I think if anybody wants to invest, in 2026, definitely when that video comes, especially in the stock market, then you will know that you need this guide, because these are things that that will overall shaping the Nigerian market. And of course, the Russia-Ukraine war is entering into, let's say, around 2020, 2021. Okay, so whether it's going to affect the stock market or not, whether it's going to escalate beyond that. For now, we don't think there's going to be any escalation because the US under Donald Trump might not be interested. So, and if there is no escalation, definitely it will not affect our stock market. And we can see that so far, whatever is going on between Hezbollah in Lebanon and Israel is not really affecting us. So for now, basically the things that will be affecting our own market is insecurity, of course, this issue of capital gain tax, and of course the America's interest, in Nigeria as a country of particular concern. So let us watch how the market unfolds, right? For long-term investors, what I would say is you have your target. If you have done your due diligence, going by proper valuation, technical analysis, and everything, you don't really have to panic sell. Just hold. If your target is 50% or 100% return on investment, just hold. It will definitely get to that, you know. But if you are short slash medium term, you have to be on the news. Do you get? So that is for the second point, which has been taken care of. Like I said, if you have any question, feel free to interrupt, right? Now, how earnings seasons drive momentum? This is, I think I've talked about this lightly. Now, what are earnings seasons? So, for earnings seasons, I'm going to look at it from a dividend perspective. Okay. Now, and since most companies in Nigeria are mandated to declare their 31st December year-end financial report. I said most companies because not all companies have 31st December. So since companies are mandated to declare their annual reports, especially companies that are listed on the NGX, they have their own discretion to declare dividend based on the director's preference and recommendation. So if the directors think that it is good enough for us to declare dividend, they are going to declare dividend. And when that happens, it is earning season. So you see shareholders, they are earning, from their investment. So that has been taken care of. Now we'll be talking about how to use technical analysis lightly without overthinking. So we will be going straight to our charts. Okay. I believe we can still see my screen. Can we see my screen?
Yes, sir.
What can we see? So what can we
We
see?
can see trading view now.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, it's up now. So we are talking about technical analysis without overthinking. So when you come to trading view, this is a chart of assets, assets corporation, right? So remember I dropped something on the WhatsApp group. That was 2 days ago, and I said if I see Access Bank at around 20, I'm definitely going to buy. And somebody said if he sees at around 14.5, that is when he will buy. Okay. So basically, I was basing my information on this technical analysis chart. And of course, in terms of valuation, Access Bank has been very, very good. But the issue now is if there is general insecurity in the country, what happens? Nobody is praying for that. But based on technical information here, we can see that Access Bank. So we can see it went down to 20.05. So I was expecting that it gets to around 20 so that I'll quickly buy it. Okay, so the person who is saying when it gets to 14, when last did Access Bank get to 14 naira? I'm trying to understand why the person chose that. But let me see 1 year. Let me see 1 year. So this is 1 year chart. This is 1 year chart, and the lowest it has gotten to is still around 20. So you can see here it's 20.5. Okay. So is it that the person is expecting that there's going to be a significant drop, or why did they expect 14.5? So this 2024, we can see 19.6. So if you look at what is happening here, you will see that Access Bank, even if it will go down, all things being equal, it will not go down significantly lower than 20 naira. All things being equal. based on information we have. And from the look of things, if you look at this relative strength index, is showing that is already going down. I don't know if you can see this. The strength index is showing that it's pointing downward. So
Yes.
most likely it will go down from this 20.5. Where would it go to? We really don't know. And be rest assured that if it goes down to, let's say, around 19.5 or 19.8, so you should know that uh, a bearish a bearish run has started for Access Bank. Nobody knows how long it will go. Maybe that was why somebody recommended 14.5. But definitely, if it breaks this support level of 20.5, just know that it's going to be catastrophic. So let us watch out. If you see Access Bank going to around, let's say, 19.4, if you see it gets to 19.4, just know that something bad is really, really happening, to this particular stock. Or it could be the general stock market. So that is for Access. So let us look at another company. We are going to use three examples for this technical analysis. Thanks, Sam. We have Dangote Cement PLC. And so I'm going to do year to date. Come here, click year to date. So with what is going on here, you can if we are working solely based on chart, we can see that Dangote Sen, is it up or down? So let somebody who has been following say something. What do you think about this Dangote Cement?
I think it's ranging.
Okay. Uh, the truth is that whoever, I believe it's Jeff that has said is at the mid range, and who else? And one more person anyway. So
MNK.
Emenike, okay, that's fine. So I believe you are looking at this place, and when you say it is at the mid range, uh, I'm not going to say that because basically that is not what I think. Because the strength index is not just this is just the chart. This is the chart, it's telling you the position. But when you look at the strength index, this is the relative strength index here. So if you come to this trading view, there are several indicators that you can choose. I prefer to use relative strength index. Okay, so when you look at it here, you will see that it is down. So there was a time it went up. When the strength index went up, that is when the price went up. So basically, it's the strength index that usually determines where the price will go. That's for technical analysis. And so when you see it down, you can see that the strength index is down here, and on the chart it's showing that it is mid-range. So based on my own interpretation, the strength index is telling you that this stock price is down. It means that it should go up whenever it wants to, either appreciate or depreciate. It's telling you that the next place is up, but if you look at the chart on the average, it's telling you that this thing is in the middle. So, but basically, if you ask me, I'll tell you that it is down because that is what the relative strength index is saying. I believe we get it. Yes, but talking about the chart, it is already in the middle. I agree with you perfectly. You know, but the strength index is saying that this thing is down. There are potentials that it will go up. So it means that truly, and if you compare with some other fundamental news. Now let us check Dank's financials. Let's compare. Can we see? Is anybody seeing me on NGX here?
I see you, sir.
Okay, you are seeing that I'm on NGX, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's fine. So let me quickly check Dank's financials and see if they've been doing well. Okay, so let's see. Because the relative strength index is telling us that the company will likely go up. But we want to see, we want to go a little bit of fundamental and see what has been the performance. And of course, if you look at other news, if you see the way Dangote is going now, you will definitely know that. his companies will do well because it's telling you that his refinery is going to be listed, on NGX sometime around 2026, at most 2027. Okay, so if that happens, most likely it's going to have a rub-off effect on all his companies that are listed under his name. Okay, so this is just so this is the Q3 report, 30th September 2025. So if you look at 3 months report, and when you are looking at financial statements, if you are comparing 3 months, compare 3 months to 3 months. Do not compare 3 months to 9 months. Now, so a mistake that some people will make is that if you see here, you see one. So all these figures are in millions, right? So if this is million, it's telling you that it's one trillion. Exactly. So the figure here is in million. So if it's telling you 1 million, of course you know that is 1 trillion. I believe we all know how to, you know, do that. So 3 months here is telling you that the revenue is 1.08 trillion. And here some people will now be comparing and say revenue declined because if you look at it here, it's 3.15 trillion. That's an error because here is 9 months. Do you understand now? This is the 9 months period for 30th September 2025. Okay, and you are comparing it with 3 months. So if you want to compare, you compare 3 months to 3 months. So if you look at for 30th September 2025, you see the revenue is 1.03 trillion. If you look at for 3 months now, 30th September 2024, you can see that the revenue is 800 billion. So definitely it has increased significantly. So remember 3 months to 3 months and compare present year to previous year. This is 2025 and this is 2024. Okay. So profit from operating activities 415 billion, here 198 billion. So profit for the year 222 billion and here 89 billion. So if you look at the financials, you will see that the company has significantly done well. Do you understand now? So this information is fundamental information. Okay, so there's what we call fundamental information, there's what we call technical information. So basically, what we can see on this screen here is the technical analysis chart, which is saying that the Dangote cement, if you look at just this price, it's saying it's on the average. But if you look at what is here, it's saying that the price has been beaten down. What made the price to go down? Nobody knows. But definitely the price will go up soon. Do you understand? So if I were to invest in this Danksem as a medium slash long term investor, I'll buy it at this current price. Okay, and just wait. In the next 3 6 months, definitely or most likely, all things being equal, right? You will see that you would have gotten maybe 20%, from your or 30% from your investment. Now, but for a short-term investor, you cannot quickly invest in this Dangote cement. Do you know why? I think I explained this in our last class. Does anybody want to try, or I should just go ahead? Why would a short-term investor not invest in this Dangote at this moment? And at what price should a short-term investor invest in Dangote? Somebody should say something, please.
Any price above this
Okay. Any price above when you see that. So why do you want to buy above this price?
because the price is already on the move.
Okay. So yeah, you partly got it. You partly got it. Why I say you partly got it is the fact that definitely you should, for a short-term investor, you should buy when the price has started going up, maybe around 543 or around 5, just like that. The reason is you don't have the time, the luxury of time to wait, for the stock market, for this particular stock. You just want to trade and come out of it. You are a short-term investor, you don't have 6 months, you don't have 1 year to wait. So you just have to wait until when you see that now the strength index is telling you that the price has gone down, it has been beaten down. The next thing is for it to come up. So as soon as it starts coming up, the moment you notice that, you can start buying immediately. So anything above this 534, when you see that it has just gone up above this, even if it is with 5 naira, definitely you know that the rally, has started. So that is for the second example for technical analysis. So let me see if I can use another example. Somebody should recommend, I
Hello,
think.
coach.
Go ahead.
Can you use Usher Index?
All share index. Yeah, all share index. What exactly do you want to buy when you are using all share index?
Okay, just to measure the general market, to know how the market is reacting to the news. Like that news is one of the things that push the market.
Okay, so who is this person that has asked this question? Emenike Abi?
Yes, I am.
Wow. Emenike, this is a very, very important question. If you ask me, and I'm definitely going to see what the all share index is saying. Okay, so let's look at it together since you have asked that. Can we see all share index now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So it has opened in trading view, so no need to go to investing.com. So let me do year to date. So based on what we can see here, it's it went down significantly. So I believe that, okay, yeah, I think we can slightly rely on it. Can slightly rely on it. Okay, let's use it. Let's use it. Let's do year to date. So we can see that there was a steady decline over a period, and this is November now. Okay, so when this news of 30% capital gain tax, and everything came up, the markets started declining, up to this point. And of course, when it declined significantly, it gained again. It gained just sharply. Okay, and when it gained, the gain was just very, very sharp. It was just, I think, one day or so. And of course, after it started declining, declining, declining until it rose slightly. And this is where the market is. So, and looking from this technical analysis, we could say that the market may go slightly lower, it may go lower, it may go up, but we never can tell. Okay, that's the overall market. Okay, but just be rest assured that there are certain stocks that even if the market is declining, the stocks they still have resistance. So you can see that there's appreciation, there's decline, there's gradual appreciation here. So there's a particular stock I saw just last week. I did not invest in this, but I was wondering why this particular stock has not been playing along, with the market. So NCR. So if you look at NCR, you will see that it has been going up significantly. It has been violating the market dynamics, despite the fact that the market will come up and go down. You see it going up. So there's something, that is pushing it. Right? So there's a particular thing that is driving this particular stock. So comparing this NCRO with what Emenike said we should check, which is the general NGX. So despite the fact that the NGX is declining generally, which will most likely affect stocks, but if a particular stock has the potential to do very, very well, when it is time, it's going to do very, very well. So looking at this NCRO now, you can see the relative strength index has been down for a very, very long time. Do we get it now? So for short-term investors, you cannot even bother to invest on this stock, from this place. So you could have invested, around this part, maybe around 17, 0.75. Okay. Then subsequently, you see that in days, you see that the price has gone up. So looking at this technical analysis, you will see that it is overdue for a rise. Honestly, I did not even pay attention to NCR, and I'm sure there are some other stocks like this, that have been flat for quite some time. That's why the fact that the market is going down, the stock is doing very, very well. So, and of course, even the technical analysis indicator will support it. So let me look at Ella Lakes as Abayomi have been, recommending since last week. Okay, let's go ahead. I guess it's not on this call or it's not in at this moment. So it was one that talked about Ella Lakes and TIP. So because he's not here, we'll just look at only Ella Lakes. He said there's an offering and people are telling him that he should come and buy, right? So based on what is here, if you look at the chart, it's already saying that in the coming days, it is either flat or it's not going anywhere or it's coming down. So for a short time, this might not be the best stock to invest. Okay, that's for technical analysis. Okay, so when we get to looking at financial statement, we'll also look at this Ella Lake. But so that we don't dwell so much time on technical analysis, let's look at what we have next. We've really dwelt so much time on technical analysis and reading audited versus unaudited reports. Okay, so let's look at this Danksem. Okay, when you look at this Danksem as the very example we took earlier, you can see that this is unaudited. It is unaudited because it's not a full year report and the auditor has not certified it. Okay, so it is unaudited, and based on what I've said, when you are comparing, you compare 3 months to 3 months, 6 months to 6 months, and for unaudited reports, there are not so much information out there. Okay, just straight to the financials, and that's it. Straight to the financials, and of course the notes to the financials. There's nothing like directors information, there's nothing like shareholders information or statement. But let us compare this same Dangote Cement unaudited report to the audited full year 31st December 2024. So let us also compare. I want to believe you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
So this is the same Dangote Cement audited for 31st December 2024. So if you look at it, you see that there's so much in the table of contents compared to the unedited report. If you see the unedited report, there's nothing like director's reports, nothing like report of statutory committee. So, but for the audited, these are some of the things that you may need to check. You might not just go straight to the financials because let's say if a company is going to undertake strategic restructuring, under the director's report, you can see what the directors planned. So here is saying the directors of Downside Cement present the consolidated this. You know. So nothing significant here, but when you go to director's responsibilities, you can now decide to read further. And of course, chairman's statement. Okay, here is saying, see the dividend now. So the director has recommended dividends. So all this is for full year 2020, you know, 4. So if you are checking the audited report, there are other things you can check apart from just going straight to the financials. If you want to go straight to the financials, you just come to you see it on the table in the table of content, right? Profit or loss, maybe 20. Just come here and click 20. Maybe in the report it will be like 18 or 23, just like that, but around that area. Okay, so you can see is in 21. Okay, that's fine. So that's looking at audited reports versus unaudited reports. Now we are talking about understanding revenue, profit after tax, EPS and shares outstanding. Now looking at Dangote Cement for 2024 as a very good example. So this is the revenue here. 3.5 trillion. That's for the full year. Then full year ended 2023. That's 2.2 trillion. So this is for the group, right? For the group as a whole. Then for the company, you can also see that. But usually I like to use the group because it is the group that is listed on the NGX. Okay. So when you look at the revenue, you see that the revenue is improving. Okay. So I think we have EPS shares outstanding. Now, what is EPS? EPS simply means earnings per share. So it means that if somebody has invested in this Dangote cement, how much earning are you getting, from for investing in 1 unit of this particular share? So looking at Dangote cement, usually the EPS for manufacturing companies is usually very very small compared to banks. Okay, so I'm going to use manufacturing company for example, and I'm also going to use bank. So EPS for this Dangote cement for 2024 is 29.74, right? That's the earning. Each unit of share, each share, how much is it earning based on the company's profit? So it's 29.4. So it's usually the profit divided by the number of ordinary shares. So let's look at the number of ordinary shares and of course the share price. So when you come to the information, right, when you claim Dangote cement here, okay, you see the total number of outstanding shares. That's 16 billion units of shares, and this is the market cap, 9 trillion, right? So base for each profit is going to be divided by the total number of outstanding shares. That is how they get the earnings per share. Okay, so we we have that sorted. Shares outstanding, just like what I showed us earlier, the total number of shares outstanding, for this particular company is 16 billion. So when you are investing in a company, you always check the number of shares, outstanding to know liquidity. So let's say for instance, this let me use another share for example, this Northern Nigeria flour mill. It is not a very, very liquid stock, and the fact that it's not liquid is because there are not so many shares outstanding, so which is expected. Okay, so when you look at this Northern Nigerian flour mill, you see when you look at this Danksem earlier, you see it has about 16 billion units of shares. Okay, but when you look at this same Northern Nigerian flour mill, it has just 178 million unit of shares. It's not even up to 1 billion. Okay, so let's look at a bank. Okay, I want us to look at the bank to compare the EPS because let's look at Zenith Bank, for example. This is Zenith Bank. The share price is 59.75. Okay, so let us see what the earnings per share is for the full year ended 31st December 2024. For for the total number of shares outstanding, when you just click it, you see it here, right? So for Zenith Bank, we have 59.75 naira per share. We have 41 billion units. So you can see that most shares listed on NGS are in billions, right? But that Northern Nigerian flour mill is not even up to 500 million, just 178 million. So let's see the audited financial statement for 2024. So when you look at of course, to go to the income statement, just go to the table of contents, already in 40. Okay, that's fine. So if you look at the 31st December 2024, for banks now, unlike manufacturing companies, we have revenue for manufacturing companies. Then for bank, what they do is usually lending. So it's interest income. So when you're looking at bank, oil companies, manufacturing companies, their income element might be different. Okay, interest income is 2.7, and of course, see the profit for the period 1.3, profit after tax 1.03, and of course, earnings per share per share, which is 32 naira 87 kobo. So it is clearly in naira. Okay, so that is for the full year ended 2024. So how much is the share price? You know, so if the earnings for one single share is 32 naira and the the share price is around 59.75, you can see that it's not even that bad. So, but earlier there was a time that even the banks, right, in the banking sector, so many of the EPS, the earnings per share, was even higher than the share price sometime around last year. So it means that they were clearly undervalued. But you can see now the price has maybe doubled, the EPS. So this is a very good example. And market capitalization and valuation metrics. So we've talked about capitalization slightly, which is the number of outstanding shares multiplied by the share price per share. Okay, so this is the market capitalization. And of course, I always talk about revenue to market capitalization. When you see that a company has more revenue than even the overall capitalization, it means that it most likely, all things being equal, it's a good thing. Then you can look at the financials. First of all, it's a good call to look at the financials, and if you see that everything is good, you know that, oh, this company is a very good company, to invest. And of course, ratios you must master: PE ratio, price earnings ratio, price to book value, return on equity, dividend yield, revenue to capitalization. So I've talked about revenue to capitalization. What is price earning ratio? Price earning ratio simply means the market price per share in the ratio of the earnings per share. So let's take, for instance, this Zenith Bank, right? The market price per share is 59.75. So let's do a quick calculation. Let me get out my calculator. So to get the price earning ratio, let me just do it on my screen so that people will see it. So the market price per share is 59.75. Okay. Then the earnings per share, what did you see as earnings per share for Zenith Bank? 32.87. So the price earning ratio is 50, 50. Why is this not showing? 59.75 all over 32 point what? 32.87. So is 1.8. So you can see that the price earning ratio is 1.8. Okay, so if at any point you see that it's 0 point something, just know that this is a very, 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 good sign. But now that it's 1.8, it means that the market price is 1.8 times more than the earnings per share, which is also good. So if you do the same PE ratio for Dangote Cement, you see that it's up to 8 or 10 times or more than that. Okay, so you can see that the banking sector, they have good potentials in Nigeria. Okay, so we have spotting red flags from financials. That's the which so then the other one, practical: dissect one real NGS company result line by line, spotting red flags from financials. So let us use this as we come to a close, let us use a company that did not do very well. Which company? Which company? Which company? Let me see this Northern Nigeria from me, because after I did that recommendation, few days later they released their report and it ended up not being what was expected. So short-term investors might not benefit from it, but for long-term investors, definitely they will benefit from it. Okay, so this is the Q2, right, which was released in October 29, talking about spotting red flags. Can we see Northern
Yeah.
Nigeria floor meal?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's beautiful. So if you look at what happened, this is 6 months, 2025, 6 months for the year ended 2024. So basically, the revenue declined. Like I said, after I did that recommendation, they released this report and eventually the revenue declined. Okay. So, and of course, that is what made the price to come down slightly. But definitely, long-term investors will benefit. Since long-term investors, you have not sold, you have not made loss. But for the revenue decreased from 21, right? 21 billion to 14 billion. Cost of sales also decreased from 18, to 12 billion. Gross profit decreased from 2.1 billion to 1.1 billion. But when e now come to selling and distribution expenses, how come it increased when gross profit, revenue, they are all decreasing? And you can see that the selling and distribution expenses, they are increasing. Is a red flag. Administrative expenses is also increasing. Why is it like that? Then you can now decide to probe further. You check the note 3 and 4. Then you can go and check why these expenses, increase when income and the revenue, is decreasing. So, and of course, you look at investment income, it also decreased. Everything just decreased. So, which is not really a very good one, for this 6 months period. So, uh that's all for now. Okay, if there is no other question, I will want to say thank you so much for joining this class.